In this video, we're going to review the Redtop Loop and Foxy Trail Loop along the Soo Line Trail System. Coming up. Hey everyone, Chris here with MidwestATVTrails.com, where we help you explore the unpaved by providing trail reviews, gear reviews, and other ATV related news and info. So if that's something that might interest you, think about hitting that subscribe button below so you can stay up to date on future videos. Alright, well today we are going to explore the Redtop Adventure Trail and the new, at the time of this video, Eastside Trail, all loops attached to the Soo Line South Trail System. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get right into it here. So this is the main trailhead in the aisle, which is where we left from. It's a good starting point because it brings you closer to the Redtop Loop off the Soo Line. So the Soo Line, as you can see as we go here, it was an old railroad grade, so it's flat, it's not super adventurous. It's still a nice, relaxing ride, and you can pick up some speed, but other than that, it's just kind of a basic ride. So we kind of like to start a little sooner up the trail. Alright, so this here's the Foxy Loop Trail, and someone said it to me best, is this is a great warm-up trail. You can see here it's a little bit into the Soo Line, but not too far. It's just a nice trail. It starts off meandering through the woods. It's got some twists and turns, not a lot of hills or anything, but it's just a nice warm-up from the Soo Line into what's going to come on the Redtop Adventure and 10 Bruins trail system. Like I just mentioned, it's an awesome little warm-up spot. So after you finish that, it brings you out up the Soo Line a little bit, but not too far. And then you continue on down the Soo Line until you get to the Redtop Trail, which we'll see here coming up on the right shortly. Alright, so as we come towards the Redtop here, we're going to take that right, and this will bring us to the start of the Redtop Loop. Now you'll notice a couple porta-johns right here, and as you pass through this next gate on the left, there will be a picnic table on the left. So granted, at this point, we hadn't been riding a long time. We didn't have a need to stop, but maybe you're getting a late start on the day, or you just want to get out and relax and enjoy nature. It's a very wooded area, so it's a nice area to hang out. So there is that going. It ends up being a great spot to just relax for a bit. Alright, so as we really get going down the Redtop Trail here, you can see the trail's narrowed a little bit, a little more dirt than gravel like we saw on the Soo Line, some more wood. So it's a nice relaxing trail. But again, just starting off into it, it's not super technical or challenging. However, one of the great things about the Redtop Trail are the technical areas that they have built in along the trail. And this is one of them here. It's just a nice spot where you can ride around, work on some skills, or just have a blast going on through the sand dunes, or it's really more of rock dunes, I guess. It's pretty hard packed, so it's not real soft. But either way, it's just a lot of fun. You can ride the hills. Sometimes, depending on when you go and when it last rained, it can be pretty muddy. You can see some water there. This one's not too bad. But there's multiple of these along the Redtop Trail. And if you have people of different skill levels, so maybe some don't like super technical areas and they just want to kind of ride along on trails like this here, great. Some can peel off and go do other things, and some can just wait around for them or just keep on riding along the trail. So now we're going to turn down the 10 Bruin Trail. Now this is a Class 1 trail, so you can see the dotted lines here as we go. That's a Class 1 trail only. So if you have a Class 2 ATV, UTV, unfortunately you won't be able to hit it. So as you can see right off the bat, the trail's narrowed in. Surprise, surprise, it is Class 1. But you really feel like you're just rolling through the woods, which you are, obviously. It's just got that real tight Class 1 feel where the trail's really windy. There's rocks, there's mud, there's dirt. Some spots there's trees in the way you kind of got to push out of the way. It's just a great trail. If you have a Class 1 ATV and have not ridden this trail and you live within 4 hours of it, I gotta say, you're missing out. You gotta check it out. If you live so far enough away, consider staying in Mille Lacs. Make a weekend out of it. You can stay at a decent hotel. There's a huge lake right there. You can ride. This is only one of many loops in the area you can ride, so you can just get out and have a good time. As you can see here, we're winding around. We're going through the woods. This is actually a steep spot right here. It's kind of hard to tell, you know, the way the cameras work and the angles and all that, but that actually was a pretty steep spot, and there's a lot of those. There you go. I'm pushing tree branches out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to pause this right here. So this right here is another great thing about the 10 Bruin trail system. Like Redtop, you can take different areas depending on your skill level. As you see from looking at these signs, you can go right or left. If you go left, it's a little more laid back. It's more like you've seen. The trail doesn't get too insane, and you really shouldn't have any issues where you're worrying about rolling your ATV or UTV unless you're doing something, you know, just outright dangerous or you're going too fast or whatever. Now, if you go to the right, in this instance, you're going to hit more of a steeper, windy hill. And there's signs right there that'll tell you which way is easier, which way is harder. So if you have different groups of people and they don't feel safe taking one way, awesome. They can go the other way, and these will still meet up shortly after this. And these are really spread throughout this trail system, so you can do this multiple times. All right, we'll go ahead and keep going here. So we're going to go ahead and go right, and it's hard to tell from the camera, but this really is pretty steep. If you've never been on it before, again, and you feel comfortable riding steeper hills and windy trails, definitely consider checking this out. I had a great time, and so did everybody else that I was with. Just had a blast riding this. And again, so you can tell from the camera here that it's clearly pretty steep and windy, but you really just can't tell. I wish there was a way to show exactly how rough the terrain was here, because it was a blast. So you're down there, you're riding around, and then you end up going back up. And in this case, when we go back up, it'll wind around for a minute, and it will meet back on that same trail we were just on. So those that didn't feel comfortable taking this trail could just meet up with us right here, and there you go. And then everybody's back on track together again. So again, another great feature of this trail system, like Redtop, it meets multiple skill levels. Now overall, we did give the trail that we're reviewing here a rating of 3. And we maybe would have considered giving it a 4 if it would have had no other options, if you would have had to take some of those hard trails. But with the options provided, there's ways around a lot of that stuff. Now, it is important to note, if someone's not comfortable, if they're brand new, this still wouldn't be a great trail for them, because there are some areas where you just kind of have to take some of those areas. They're just, the ones that you're required to take definitely aren't as bad as the optional ones. There's a lot of areas like this too. There's some good water holes, lots of areas to have fun, putts around in. We had a great time hitting some of these water holes as we were going through. And then again here, there's a couple of bridges. These were always, you know, they're kind of nice. Obviously not real technical, but they're kind of nice. One, that they're provided, and two, that they just provide a nice riding experience. So after riding the 10 Bruin trails for a while, we came out, and as you can see here as we pan, this is a nice picnic area. We stopped here. No bathrooms, unfortunately, so if you need a bathroom, you're going to have to ride longer, but it does make for a great area to eat, and you really are deep in the woods. All right, so lunch is over, and we're back out on the trail. Now, we're meeting towards the end of the 10 Bruin trail, so we decided to branch off. We took a right and ended up on this, the Adventure Trail. So this is another great trail. Unfortunately, I don't have a map for all this, because when we hit these trails, they were pretty new. So there was 1 or 2 maps out there on the trail. They had made nice signs, but there's nothing printed or available to where we could easily just pull that up here for you to see at this time. So I'm going to pause here real quick. So this is the exit of the Eastside Trail. We're going to find that later on down the video. I just wanted to point out right now that that's the exit. So we're going to continue down the Adventure Trail. Again, as you can see, lots of riding options here. The scenery changes on these trails a lot, which is great. So one minute you're riding through the mud, the next you're in the water, the next you're on some rolling rocky terrain, if you will. Just overall, these are amazing trails. Like, honestly, if you've not been on them, I highly recommend them. They are a lot of fun. So we're just gonna play some more footage here for you so you can get a better idea of the trail. And like I've mentioned in previous videos, we're trying to build a library, if you will, of trail reviews and ways for you guys to learn about trails that you may want to try, instead of having to, you know, spend 3 hours to get there and realize it wasn't the trail you wanted. So with that being said, if we're providing too much info, like these videos are getting long and boring, please let us know. And if we're not providing enough video footage, please let us know that too. Okay, so we're coming out of the trail. Now we are actually technically back on the 10 Bruin trail. This is like basically where 10 Bruin ends. That in front of you is Redtop. However, right before we get to Redtop, boom, we're gonna take a right and hit the Eastside Trail. Again, class 1 trail system. It's a new trail, so I don't have any maps on it, but I'm glad we hit it because it was a lot of fun right off the get-go. As you can see here as we're coming in, here's a mud hole right away. This was a lot of fun. Again, more technical area, but man, it was a blast. However, if you're not looking for muddy areas and technical riding areas, or your experience level is not quite ready for something like that, this is an easy trail to just skip then. You definitely don't have to take this. One thing to note on this trail is there's no bypasses. So once you're on it, it's a one-way trail and you're going all the way through. There's no way skipping anything. So there's not necessarily a lot of areas where there's steep hills or anything like that. It's more of the mud rock mixture that creates for a little different riding experience and you know, some more technical riding, if you will, as you can see as we're going through some of this footage here. So if that's not what you're looking for, maybe consider skipping over this one. Okay, so where I paused earlier and I said this is the exit of the east side, that's it right here. So now we're back on the adventure trail. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of roll through some of this footage and we're gonna get back to the Redtop Trail. Alright, so after speeding through that footage, we got back on the Redtop Trail. Again, the Redtop Trail is still more technical than the Soo Line, but easier than the Adventure and the Eastside Trail Loops. So if you're kind of in that intermediate point where you're like, yeah, I want a little more, adventure, but I don't want to get too crazy and end up on a one-way where I'm just going to have to ride through it, the Redtop's still a great loop, and it has technical areas like this one here. I had a lot of fun in this technical area. I didn't really know how deep it was going to be, and my ATV, the scrambler that I'm on here, was not snorkeled, so I got a little concerned because I really got out there, as you can see as I ride here, but I got pretty close to the intake. Thankfully, I didn't get too close and I didn't get any water in there at all, but again, great ride. And like I mentioned, the Redtop Loop has multiple technical areas which you can either take or not take, so some of the people we were riding with didn't really feel comfortable testing these waters, pun intended, so they just went ahead and skipped it and came around on the other side. So there, I'm in a little bit of a lean, so I brought it to one side. I didn't know if it was going to continue to tilt on me or not. And as you can see, it's definitely, it's in there pretty deep, and it gets a little deeper. It actually goes over the grill there, but like I said, thankfully not high enough to really worry about getting any water in the intake. A lot of fun though. I actually went back and did it a few times, so it was a lot of fun. All right, so there we go. We're gonna head back towards the Soo Line Trail. Now the Redtop Loop is a loop. You might notice this is the way we went in. We did the loop and decided to go back and come out the same way just so we could get a good amount of footage and get some extra riding in. So you can complete the loop and then take the Soo Line that way. We just did it and then came back the same way. All right, well, there we have it. So we covered the Redtop Loop, the 10 Bruin Loop, the Adventure Loop, and the Eastside Loop. Now, that was only about a 13-minute video. You could spend all day out in these trails, so don't think they're too short. I think the Redtop Loop alone, including those sub-loops, has a good 25 plus miles, and at the speed you end up going, that in itself is a good day of riding. Alright, so there we have it. I hope this video was helpful. If so, think about smashing that thumbs up button. Otherwise, like I mentioned earlier, think about hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on future trail reviews, gear reviews, and other ATV related news. Thanks for watching.